Welcome to Zennurgy. I am your interactive coach today. I am a conduit, a coach, and a catalyst for change. This is Zennurgy, and we are about fuel for life. We're about fuel for the mind, body, and soul. And I'm here today, and it is National Poetry Month. It is, we're in April. We just had April Fools. And so now we're April 10th, and I'm actually a little excited because I was just looking at my stats for Zennurgy, and I just added 11 cities in a week with subscribers.
That's awesome.
And yeah, 4 more countries. So I was like, oh, wow.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, just in a week. So that's pretty cool. So we're in 42 cities now, and what is it? Yeah. 11 countries. I added 4 new countries. So I was in 7. So I'm in 11 now. So that was really exciting to look at. So I am here with Kimberly. Is it Doo-Wop Bolden?
Doo-Wop. Yes, that's my stage name.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to ask you how you got that stage name. So,
Okay.
So, like I said, it is National Poetry Month, and I am here with a poet, a spoken word artist. She has a long bio. If you can go back to the Facebook events, she has performed in many places, done slam, and she has just released her first book.
Well, right? It's coming. It's coming. I'm still working on it.
Okay, awesome. Well, there was some beautiful cover art that I put out on Instagram and on the Facebook event, so you can see this coming book.
Yes.
And so we are here in April in National Poetry Month to talk about artistry.
Yes.
And so I think every artist has a different definition of like what artistry is, what it means to be an artist, what makes them an artist. So when you think of artistry, what comes to your mind, Kimberly?
Well, when I think of artistry, to me, it's just simply creativity. And it just comes in so many forms, and sometimes in ways that we recognize, sometimes we don't necessarily, or some forms of artistry don't get as much attention as others. But it's just a means of creating, is what I think. Just having the ability to do so.
Okay, I like that. To me, artistry is definitely about creating and about creativity and about having your personal style. But I think for me, there's more of a craft to it. Like you're not just, in a sense, winging it, but you've actually put some time and effort into creating, a polished performance to a certain degree, or a polished piece. And a lot of us go to open mics and we're working on our stuff. We're working on our craft.
That's right.
We're working on our stage presence. We're working on our ability to interact with the audience. So I don't think that you ever arrive. I think we're always getting better. But I think that there is a level when you go from what some might say like an apprentice or a novice to somebody where you say like, oh yeah, okay, I have some experience. I may not be a veteran, but I've paid my dues.
Absolutely.
And I think some part in that middle when you really feel like, okay, I'm not just completely new to this. I really have, practiced, have polished myself. That's when you get to that level of like artistry. And it's not just, I don't know, just hit or miss and winging it.
Something you practice, something that there's levels to it, like you say. And once you get to a place where you move beyond it just being a hobby, for you, or something you do just because, it's nice to do or you like to do, but you really start to take it seriously. And yes, I totally agree. There's different levels to artistry for sure.
Well, I said I was gonna ask you about your stage name. So where did Doo-Wop come from?
Okay, so before I ever started writing or performing poetry, I've been singing like for as long as I can remember. And my cousin was part of a group, and I would always feature on their songs and things like that. Everybody had a stage name except for me. And I know you can't tell being virtually, but I stand 4 feet 11 inches tall.
Oh, okay.
And so when I was in college, it was, shorty doo wop. And then, once I really got into performing and recording and things like that, and, started hanging out with my brothers, and having that, adding that musical aspect to it, doo wop being a musical term. And it just all kind of came in together. And we were just trying to figure out, like, well, what would it be? What would your stage name be? And one of my brothers just came up with doo wop and to spell it in this different manner to make it unique. So, it's just a combination of being an artist, artistry, and just some of the different aspects of my life. So that's how I came about
I like that. My stage name, which is Zennurgy, that's actually my stage name, not my
it.
real name.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of as you were saying, your brother gave you that name. Well, people gave me the name of Zen in college. And so they would just say, you're always so calm, you're so chill. I get around
Yeah.
you. I listen to you and you calm me down. Sometimes I'm just going to call you just to hear your voice because it calms me down. So you're my Zen. And so people just kept calling me Zen, Zen, Zen. And then, okay, I was like, okay, fine. I'm Zen.
There it is.
Yeah. And then I was a page poet forever. And then about 4 years ago, I decided I was going to cross over to the spoken word arena, which was actually very intimidating to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, I'm going to be Zen. I've been Zen for, I've been Zen for 20 something years at that point. And then when I was trying to create my Facebook name, because I wasn't really on Facebook really at all at that point, I was under my government name.
Okay.
But I wanted to kind of separate my government persona, what I'm saying, my professional persona from the rest. And I figured I was going to have more posts about the poetry and stuff and less about family and all that stuff. So I was like, let me take my government name off. Let me put Zen. Facebook
Okay.
would let me do that. They were like, it's too short. And so I tried a couple of different things. The poet Zen I did, I was like, okay, I don't like that. And then a word that had been really out there a lot was ashe. It really
Mm-hmm.
kind of resonated with me. It meant amen. It means so be it. It means your words have power. It means, you craft your world with your words. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of just things that I kept seeing that term ashe, ashe, ashe. I was like, Zen ashe, that sounds really cool. Let's
I like
do that.
it.
So, my stage name came from one that was given to me and one that I chose, and I put it
All right.
together, and that's how I created it. And so, whenever I see it, probably whenever you see it, it kind of reminds you of your journey. You see doo-wop, it kind of reminds you of your journey to get to
Mm-hmm.
that name. And when I see my name, it also reminds me of my journey and also my, I guess you could say, my purpose, which is to have my words actually create peace and bring people fulfillment and just cause them to just be uplifted, you know.
Yeah.
So, so that's definitely something that
That's an awesome
I believe
story.
in. Well, thank you. So, on your journey to become an artist, I kind of mentioned that some people feel like you have to have put in your time, right? Did you ever go through what some people call imposter syndrome when you felt like unsure of yourself or you felt like you were trying to be something you weren't or any of that?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I could say early on, like, so what got me really involved. I'm my journey and how I started was different than yours. It was, I would say, opposite. So I started more so as a performance poet, a spoken word artist, and that was really where my what I focused on, where my writing was focused on, and how I really became involved with the art. And I was hosting like some artist showcase events and things like that, where we would showcase spoken word artists. And I was just so inspired by what they were doing. I had written a few poems just, for self, for release, just to, get those words out of my body and onto the page. And but once I really started to get involved and get into the scene and be a part of the circle, I really felt inspired to write and to perform. I've been a performer, like I said, for a long time, and to perform spoken word. And so, in the beginning, when I first started, I was in a circle with people who have been doing it for years. Have been performing and writing for a long time, and being new to the scene, you do question like, I don't know, is this really my thing or what? And even in the beginning, I felt like even other people kind of questioned,
Mm,
me, because when I stepped on the scene, um, many people thought I had been there for a long time. And so the people who had been there for for a long time were kind of like, hold on, where'd she come from? What's going on? Where'd she show up out of nowhere? And so that was happening in the beginning, but it really didn't take long for me to establish and to figure out like where my place was, in this city, in this circle, in this art form. So yeah, in the beginning a little bit.
yeah, I think when I first, as I told you, I was intimidated, when I first started performing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a teacher, so I had been a teacher for 21 years at that point. So I knew how to come, when a teacher takes a classroom, like you have to make that your space.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it known, okay, this is my classroom. Okay. When you come through those doors, you're in my realm, kind of that thing. And so you have to have that kind of, in a sense, demeanor if you don't want to have problems. So I knew that world, and I took that world somewhat into performing. Like,
Okay.
once I step on the stage, this is my room. You know
I
what I mean?
know that.
And
Right.
yeah, so that, in a sense, I didn't come. Uh, I was shy because by nature I'm an introvert. I was shy, but I did still have, in a sense, a presence about me because
Mhm.
of having been in the classroom for so many years. And so there were a lot of people who thought I had been doing it for years. And then there were other people. I remember the first time I got asked, like, what team are you on? I was like, I'm not playing sports. What are you talking
Right.
about? They were like, are you with Poetry Lounge? Are you with Poetry Sundays? Are you with, and I'm like, I'm not with anybody.
Poetry.
I'm a poet. And then they were like, okay, you're not answering my question. Yeah, I am. No, who did you first perform with? And I was like, okay, I first performed, at Seven's Poetry Sundays. Okay, so you're a Poetry Lounge person. I was like, no, I'm not. But okay, if that's what you need to hear, that's fine. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
kind of wanting to classify people, wanting to put them in cliques is very interesting. I don't know if
Yeah.
they're that where you are, and some people would
Yeah.
say that it's very much like that in Houston, and some other people would say no, we moved away from that. I guess it's just a opinion.
Hmm.
Feel like there's poetry cliques, or do you feel like everybody
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like they're everywhere, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. It happens. It's it can be an unfortunate thing because I think it limits us, limits our opportunity to spread our word, to spread our art, and even to be connected to other people who are in and around you. And I've learned that, through the years. And, I had people who were down, with this group or down with that group. And then there's people that come in, and they think, oh, poetry is just flowers and rainbows. And, everybody is it's just love, love, love. And it's like, well, there's some set tripping that goes on in in the spoken word world, that happens. And that in itself is one of the, and I would go out, I would expand, my circle. I would go to different poetry venues and support different poetry sets. And different cliques of people, just depending on where they are and what their focus was, different kinds of things. And so whether it be getting involved with the youth poetry in the city, or going out to some of the open mics that were more centered around just the literary, I call them literary poets,
Yeah.
the page poets, like you said, who are really just focused heavily on the writing, the technique, the style, the creative writing aspect of it, and not so much energy is put into the performance, and then you have the opposite, just depending on what set you go to. And in 2018, I had an opportunity to collaborate with an art center here in Cincinnati. And what we started was Cincinnati Poetry Slam. And Cincinnati Poetry Slam, and the reason I gave it the title of Cincinnati Poetry Slam is because I really wanted everybody in the city to feel connected. I want everybody here to know that they were welcome, they were invited. It was a safe place for whoever you are, wherever you come from. And that was really my goal, was to try to connect people and bring people together, because as a city, of poets who practice the same art form, we can do much more. We can expand this art and the exposure and the knowledge of it way more than we can when this group is here and this group is there. And so it's really been a fulfilling journey and an experience, and it's done even more than I expected, just connecting the city. But it really connects Cincinnati with cities from all over, and people from different cities and different states and different places come in, especially when we were still live, before Corona.
Mhm.
We were still live and in person, and people would come in and they would drive hours or fly in, just to be a part of it. And it really expanded and to me put Cincinnati even more so on the map as a place where you can come and enjoy and be a part of this world of spoken word and poetry. So yes.
Well, that's awesome, and I am, I've seen since I started 4 years ago performing. I've seen the people who've been doing it forever and they're still doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
people who have come along since I started, and the people who, um, we've had just a joining together. There's kind of a family vibe to a lot of the poetry. It's like once you're in it, you're kind of part of a sorority or a fraternity. We don't have a secret handshake
Right.
or steps, that we practice together, but
Right.
there definitely is a love. There is just I guess a camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
that's a beautiful thing. I love to see that. You know, um, Speaking, you just mentioned COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me as a spoken word artist, it was very difficult losing all the live shows
Whew.
for a period of time. It was like a death. In fact, this podcast came out of having no live shows and
All
really
right.
feeling like, okay,
What do we
oh,
do now?
yeah, what are we gonna do?
Yep.
And so the podcast was born, and my online store was born, and me putting a lot of merch online was born, and all kind of stuff was born. Because as a creative, I think you have to create, and once you really get into that and it becomes part of your lifestyle, I don't know if people are able to turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just becomes part of who you are, and without it, you don't, in a sense, know how to cope. So how did you, as a spoken word artist, I mean, how did COVID affect you? Was it, I know it affected everybody, but I think artists had slightly a different response.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, as I was talking about Cincinnati Poetry Slam, so the season for the slam runs March through December, um, and so we go every other month and we host a slam. Well, our season kickoff for 2020 was on March 14th. And it was right at the time when all of the the news was popping and everything was like, oh, we might have to shut down. We might have to shut down. And I'm like, no, 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 shut down. It was our our kickoff event. It was sold out. I mean, it was just ready. It was amazing. Poets lined up. It was going to be an amazing event, right? And so I'm just watching. I'm watching. I'm like, okay, Lord, okay, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? What we gonna do? And 2 days prior, the whole state got shut down, and so we had to cancel. So we had to cancel, and then it was like, well, what do we do now? What do we do? Where do we go? How does this happen? And it took me a while. It took me until July, I believe, July of last year, before I got to a place um, of understanding this whole virtual platform, and being provided the opportunity, with some contract work, to host meetings on Zoom, and to go in and really learn the function, learn how it worked, learn it all, the capacity. And so at that time, I was also connecting with a nonprofit group here that it's called Elements. It's a hip hop cultural center, and they are the one and only sponsor that I have for the slam. And so I reached out, like, what are y'all doing? How are y'all doing this? And and so by collaborating with them and being able to use their resources and things like that, I got enough confidence to try to, join this whole virtual world. It was like, do this or do nothing, and we have to do something. So we waited till July, and on July, I believe we had I think we did our first slam, our first virtual slam last year in July. And it was definitely a learning experience, but we kicked it off. It went pretty well, and we've been hosting, events, spoken word, open mic events, and poetry slam events since then, virtually. And it's definitely been a learning curve, a learning situation. It's getting better and better as we go, as we learn more about the technology, and how we can incorporate things and make it more interesting than just your typical, Zoom meeting type of thing. So it was definitely adjustment. And so we were hosting 5 slams a year. I mean, and really all they were sold out, they were sold out. And our venue held up to 160 people. So every other month we were doing that. And it was just gone. I had shows and gigs lined up, and they were just gone. And so I heard about some of these grants and things that, some of these foundations were giving out for artists who lost money and blah, blah. So I applied for some of those. That didn't work. And it was just like, okay, we got to figure it out. So we've just been rolling virtually since then. I've had a few virtual, gigs since then, and, still being able to connect with people. But I'm really looking forward to getting back in person, but I'm not to the point of where I want to push it. So we're just praying that things clear up soon so that we can get back. But in the meantime, we're still having a good time, still spreading this word like we do.
That is great. I somehow lost my camera completely. I don't even know what happened. It is crazy. I'm trying to fiddle with it.
Okay.
And listen to you at the same time. So I'm gonna try. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure out what is going on.
No problem. Technology.
This is why I hate technology, because
anything happens.
Anything can happen, and now it's like my camera just went dead, like right here in the middle of this interview, and it does not seem to want to turn back on. I don't know what is going on. That is so weird. So we're going to continue. It'll be fine on the podcast, and I'm probably going to have to put an image up here.
Okay.
When I edit it for the video. So, I was going to ask you, one of the other questions is, who do you think are like the best artists, like the best poetry, the best poets or spoken word artists that you see? And if you don't want to say they're the best, you want to say, because I know you
My
don't want to.
favorite, I just say like my
Yeah,
favorites.
your favorites.
According to me, my favorite. You know, one of my all-time favorite, and still my favorite to this day, spoken word artist, poets, is Sonny Patterson. I absolutely love her. Oh, there you go. Hello.
I have been fiddling with that camera. I'm sorry. So Sonny Patterson. Okay.
Yes, I absolutely love her work. She just has this presence about her that is, to me, is extremely inviting, and it may it and how do I say it? She, to me, is able to relay a message and a word in such a way that makes you feel like you are directly connected to her. Like I feel so connected to Sonny Patterson. I've met her once, real briefly, but she just has a way with her words and with her presence that just draws me in something amazing, and I love her. I love her. She's one of my favorites. Um, One of my favorite all-time poems to read is Nikki Giovanni.
Mm.
Black, what is it? Black, beautiful black man. That's what it is.
Okay.
I love that poem. I just love the way that she relays how much how much love and respect she has for black men, whoever they are, whatever they do. You know, just that endearing spirit that she has in that poem. It really draws me back to it, and I love to read it. I love to go back to it. It just takes me to a place of appreciation that I really feel come out strongly in that poem. And that's just really one of the poems that I love to read.
I love Nikki Giovanni. She's one of my favorite poets. She has this poem. I think it's called "I Ate a Hot Poem,"
Mm-hmm. All right.
and
Yes, yes.
and if anybody out there has never read this, you should read it because it's about love and it's about how
Mm-hmm.
love confuses you. And so throughout the whole poem, she is mixing up statements. So it's like I wish I had prepared and I could read it to you, but it's just this amazing poem about how love just makes you all mixed up, but you
Mm.
don't care.
Gotcha. Don't
Don't
care.
care because it's just an amazing experience to be
Mm-hmm.
in love and to
Yeah.
feel love. And even though your emotions are all over the
Even
map,
though you might be crazy in love,
yeah, you
right?
could be crazy in love. You are going through this craziness and celebrating the craziness because it
Mm.
just feels so good to be in love. And
So
she
good.
expressed it and captured it perfectly,
Yeah.
and oh, okay. So we got a Ebony Ignited Ink says it's on her list to read now. She has
Okay.
another poem that I love where she's talking about being a black woman, and she's talking about how one of the lines I loved, I turned myself into myself and was Jesus.
Mm.
No. And so she's talking about the poem reminds me a lot of The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes
Mm-hmm.
because it takes you all the way back to Africa. And
Yes.
she talks about the Euphrates, and she talks about the Tigris and the Nile, and she talks about the pyramids, and she talks about, like I already mentioned, Jesus, and just all of these different historical figures, but from the perspective of them being black, from
Mm-hmm.
the perspective of us as black people having this as our lineage, and
Absolutely.
that we should feel just so, beautifully blessed
Yes.
to know that we come from greatness and to know that greatness is within us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a really beautiful poem. And when I think of artistry, I just think of the words that resonate when you read them and they touch something deep inside you because they're just so true and they're so eloquently stated.
Yeah.
I think that that's um, what it means in a sense to be an artist is
Being
to
honest.
try to cut away all the stuff that gets in the way of the eloquence
Mm-hmm.
and to really clarify what you want to say so that it's pin drop clear.
Yeah.
It's just beautifully clear. And I remember somebody asking Van Gogh about how do you paint such beautiful how do you paint such beautiful canvases? And he said, I dream my painting and then I paint my dream.
Mm.
And I thought that that was beautiful. So it's almost like with artists, we we imagine this poem and then we
Mhm.
create that imagined piece on paper or orally. And I know some artists, the word magician comes to mind, that they can do it right on the spot. They can just, you can give them 5 words and they can create a poem right there in front
Right
of you.
there. Yes. It blows my
Ah,
mind.
I can do a poem, but I can't do it like that. I can do
No,
it very quickly, but not like that.
that's right. I gotta write it down. I gotta see it on the paper. Like, okay, here we go. Yes, I have a good friend of mine. Her name is Statuesque, and she can like literally just create the whole poem in her head. Like, give her. We used to have the set called Wordplay Wednesday, and so every week I would give a word, and so we would come and we would, deliver our new poems based on that word. And so she would come and she would show up just with this word in mind. And like on the drive, to the set, she would write this piece in her head and just get up on the mic and just spit the piece. And I'm like, how do you do that? It amazes me the ability that some people have, the freedom. I think that's kind of what I consider it, a freedom, because I think the reason why I can is because I think I can, because I've restricted myself to believing that I can't. And so I'm like, no, y'all go ahead and do that. But they're just free and they can just let it flow. And it's awesome.
It is amazing. And there's so many different types of poetry, so many different types of artistry in terms of even the performance. There are people that I remember I saw this poet, and what was his name? Okay, it may come to me later. He brought a
Mm-hmm.
backpack up on stage and he just started pulling out a bunch of things from the backpack and he set them down. Like he had a hat over here, a pair of shoes, a scarf, whatever. And he said, okay, audience, which one do you want me to do? Pick the item you want me to do. And then somebody would say, oh, do the scarf. And he would do this amazing piece. And it wouldn't just be about a scarf. It would be the scarf would
Mm-hmm.
be in the piece, but it would be just like this whole amazing piece. And when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that is a whole different kind of artistry that brings kind of like this theatrical element to poetry. And it was
Yeah.
just really, really cool. I had never seen anybody do that before. So it is National Poetry Month. Are you doing
Mhm.
anything beside this podcast to kind of
Yes,
celebrate?
yes, yes. So I host, as I said, Cincinnati Poetry Slam, and we have a group on Facebook that's called 3030 Poetry Challenge. So a lot of times, or a lot of artists, poets, in celebration of National Poetry Month, they'll do this challenge. Is write a poem a day, challenge. And so I said, well, maybe I'll put together this group and I can give out prompts daily. And so I give daily prompts out every morning, 5 a.m.
Woo,
East
5
Standard Time.
a.m.
I schedule them. so I put, so I post them 5 a.m. every morning. There's either a word or a group of words or a statement or a sentiment or something like that. Or it could be just a particular type of poem prompt, to write. And so I've invited people into that group and I give the prompts out every day and we write. And so you can share if you like, or if you just want to be inspired and keep it to yourself, that's fine. So of times people will share some of their, it's a small percentage of the people who actually share. But I feel like a lot of people are being inspired to be creative, just to get those creative juices flowing, because sometimes, when you're just in your own space, it's hard to kind of tap into like that inspiration, like running out of ideas here. And so to be able to have those prompts every day, and then also to be able to read the work of other artists is so inspiring, and you learn so much, and we can comment on each other's poems, or just react or whatever, and it really is inspiring to me. We're on day 10 now. So I'm making, this will be the first year ever that I've written 30, and I am writing 30 poems, okay? And I mean that. And plus I'm in the midst of still writing for my book, and so I was looking forward to this month because I'm like, come on, inspiration, let's go, So it's just been a wonderful thing, and I believe this is it's either our third or fourth. I believe it might be our third year doing it. And so, and then they come up in your memories from the year before, and it's really inspiring to see. And, it's really not a place to come where you feel like you're pressured to do anything. It's just, you feel like, to me, I feel like being in that space is more of an opportunity, or a blessing, even to be in that space with those other creatives, to be able to feel that vibe, and get them juices flowing, because sometimes we just need it.
Yeah, last year was the first year that I did the 30 for 30, and I did it actually on Instagram with a poet named Poppy Picasso.
Oh yeah, no
Um,
problem. Okay, yes.
yeah, so he posted, not only did he post a prompt, but he was posting videos that he had created for the poems that he was writing, which was a whole different level because he literally had these animated videos of his poetry. So it was really cool.
Okay, I'm
Um,
gonna have to check out his Instagram.
I don't
Okay.
know if he's doing it this year because I have not been on Instagram as much this year as I was
Mhm.
last year because with COVID, you were looking for all kind of things to take your mind off of what you were going through. So I did all 30 last year with him, which was
Awesome.
really cool because I had never done anything like that. And this year, I'm part of a Facebook group, messenger group called Improv Poetry. And I don't know if Ebony's still on here with us, but she's actually Ebony Ignited Inc. She's a spoken word artist. She also has a production company, does a lot of videos and other things. So she's actually providing all of our prompts. And so
Um,
all the people in that messenger group have actually performed on the improv stage at the Houston Improv.
okay,
Uh, yeah, so that's how we're all in that chat.
that's
And oh, she's
awesome.
still there. She's still there. So I'm giving you a
Yeah.
shout out, Ebony. You know,
Hi, Ebony.
so yeah, so she has been giving us some great prompts, some challenging prompts.
That's awesome.
You know,
Yes,
you want
yes.
to stretch
Definitely
yourself
got a
as an artist.
challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to stretch yourself as an artist.
And
So
I know Laredo Poetry Slam and out of Texas, I see they give prompts every day. So it's a lot of places, thankfully, in this month, to really go and get inspiration. So, I'm glad that National Poetry Month was created, 25 years ago. I think it's like 25th anniversary. And so, just to be able to shine the light on this art form, that doesn't often get too much light unless we're at the inauguration, or something like that. But other than that, it's kind of far and few in between. But just to have a month to where we really are able to connect with each other, and then now that we have these virtual platforms, we're able to connect with people from everywhere, and so it just opens it up, and just expands our reach even more, which is one of the awesome things that COVID did come along with COVID. Even though we're kind of shut in, we're still broadening our horizons, so it's good.
I agree. This past year was the first time that I did two virtual open mics that were not based out of Houston. They were,
Okay.
somewhere up north. And so, when we came on, everybody was saying, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from here, I'm from here. So that was really cool.
Yes.
That was really cool to hear all of these different artists, some of them with these accents, so you could know that they were from the North or Boston or whatever. And so it was really cool because
Yes.
we don't normally hear that down south. We hear the Texas accent, the Louisiana accent, but
Oh yeah.
not the other kinds of accents. So it was really cool. And Ebony is with us. So hi, Ebony. I'm gonna
Hi,
say hi to you
Ebony.
again. So what are some goals that you have as an artist or as a poet?
Hmm. Um, I think my over just all goal is always, and I would say even from the beginning, is just to um, inspire, to connect, and to share and engage. To engage people, and to bring them in and to allow them to connect with me, what I write, what I have to say, in a way that they are able to, sometimes even see themselves, and sometimes to have that understanding and appreciation for the fact that you're not alone. A lot of times I feel like we think we are alone in our struggles, in our successes, just in our experiences in life. And when you have, it's just like, that song that resonates, it's the same manner that if you could just connect, or touch one person, or get somebody to feel you. And sometimes I just want to be felt, just feel me, and to be understood, and that in a general sense is always my goal. As far as some of the projects and the things that I have in the pipeline that I'm working with, as we spoke about earlier, I'm working on my first book. I've been writing and performing for 20 years, and I'm just now releasing a book of poetry. And I've thought about it over the years, but never gave it a whole lot of um, attention, or never really put much into it beyond, maybe I should write a book. But I was, this past year, I was just presented with the opportunity from a brother of mine. His name is C. Miller, and he's a poet and a writer. And we connected through some open mics, actually, that we do through church. And so we connected that way. And I saw he had released some things, and so we started talking. He's like, "Do you have a book? Where's your book? Where can I get your book?" And I'm like, I don't have a book. And people have asked me over the years, "Do you have a book?" And I'm like, no, I don't. I've had recordings and CDs and things like that, but never a book. And so he's like, "Wow, why?" So we had to get into the why and all that. He's like, "Listen, I will help you. This is what I do. I'm a coach. I'm a advisor, and I have this publishing company." And I'm like, "Really?" So I started working with him back last fall on this project, and really didn't know what I was going to do. It was just like, "Come on, let's get this. You can do this." And so I said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it. Let's go. It's time." And in the process of kind of pulling together the poems that I have written over the years, and just trying to think about, what I wanted to read, if I when I release a book, what do I want to relay, in this book? And it was, I came up with the title "Sincerely Do Why." And what brought me to that title is, I am like, this is my expose. Like, this is just me just laying everything out on the line. Beyond, what you hear, what you see on stage, but really getting in depth, knowledge as to, the things that motivate me, how my mind works, and things that people normally, and a lot of people probably who are even close to me, might not even know I think, or I feel, or I've experienced. And it's been a very vulnerable process,
Mm.
because I share things in my book, um, that I wouldn't necessarily, share on stage. that I wouldn't necessarily consider performing, that are very, you know, deep and important, and to me. So I titled the book Sincerely Do I, because I feel like everything I write, I just want you to know that this is me and I'm sincere. These are sincerely my writings, and how you in your letters, or things, your writings with sincerely, whoever. And I'm like, I just want you to know that by the time you get to the last line on each one of them poems, that this is me, and it's just sincerely, exposing you to who I am. So even for people who wouldn't necessarily like know me, like you or someone else who didn't know me previously, or to feel like, oh, well, I never knew that. But just like I said, just to be able to connect with people, and to have them, be able to relate and understand that we all go through so many different experiences in life. And it's those experiences, that really create who we are in this moment. And those 20 years, writing that spans over 20 years, I didn't necessarily feel the need to chronologically lay it out. It's laid out in different sections or chapters, or however you want to call it, but in different forms of letters or things that would be written. So there's a section that's called "Thank You Cards," and those are my poems where I'm giving thanks and appreciation, to the people in my life, to God, to whatever. There's a section that is love letters, and those are the ones where I'm just expressing my love. And so there might be poems in that section from 20 years ago. There might be poems from last year. There might be a poem that I haven't even written yet that'll go in that section. There's a section called Postcards from the Edge.
Mm.
And so those are the ones when I have had enough, and I'm over it.
Cards from the edge. I got you.
Yeah, so these, just different, just trying to capture different aspects of writing in these different sections. And like I said, just to let you know, this is just coming from me. This is who I am, and this is Sincerely Do I.
Awesome. So I know last year during COVID, I decided that I was going to do that because people have said, where's your book? Where's your book? Where's your book? Okay, 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 okay. Um,
Okay, right.
so I released a nonfiction book about attracting abundance, but I did work on two poetry books, one short one and one long one, because what I wanted to do, my goal was to win a chapbook contest and have them do all the publishing. In terms of, all I had to do was submit it, and
Mm-hmm.
win, and they're gonna handle all the money and all that stuff. I'm not gonna have to put in any money except the submission form. That didn't happen, but it was
Okay.
great putting it together because, um, you know, one of the books is called The Wildness of Zen.
Okay.
And yeah, and so it's just basically what it says. It's just about daring to be completely authentic.
Hmm.
And every chapter has Zen plus something else. Like Zentrimony is all about like matrimony and weddings and being married, being a wife, and then I have like Zenicism, which is all about like philosophy, like my belief system, has some stuff about religion, spirituality, all that kind of stuff. And then I have like Zencology, which is all like nature pieces. And then I have like Zenconomics, which is all about money and politics and all that stuff. So like there are all these different um, arenas of life.
Hmm.
I
Yes.
have one about parenting, an area about parenting. I have one about singleness. So, but they all start with Zen. And off the top of my head, I can't remember all the titles,
Hmm.
but yeah. So it was really cool. I didn't realize. I knew I had written a lot, but when the chapbook told that you only could have 80 pieces, that was hard because
Okay.
I had like, I don't know, 150 or something like that.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I had to, what are my best ones? Which ones best, show me, my style, my thought process,
Exactly.
all that. And so kind of going through that process and even editing a little bit, reading through stuff I hadn't read through in
I
years,
know, digging
years.
through the archives, that's what I call it.
Right.
Digging through the archives.
And I was telling Ebony the other day because she put up a writing prompt. It was called "You need to write how somebody should love you," like an instruction guide to how somebody should love you. That was the point. The poem for the
Yeah, very interesting because the
yeah.
poem that I picked for today is called Love is a Verb.
Ah,
And
that was on the same wavelength.
I've never shared it with anyone actually.
Yeah, so I wrote a poem to that prompt, and she was like, this is very interesting. And was it difficult to write? And I was like, actually, I have written this poem, different versions of the same topic, over and over and over again because I have changed so much that
Mm,
every year it seems like I visit this idea of how would somebody need to love me now that I am here versus
mm,
how would they have needed to love me last year or the year before. And I shared with her the piece that I had written 2 years ago. It was so different because 2 years ago I was all about thinking about freedom. I had gotten
mm.
out of my marriage and I felt so trapped and repressed in that marriage. It's like,
Okay.
if you want to love me, build me a ramp, not a cage.
Okay.
That was one of the lines in my poem. And this poem, the one that I just wrote a few days ago, was all about share my peace with me, meditate with me, walk in nature with me. It was a
Totally different.
totally different kind of vibe. And it just was interesting for me to see poetry shows you how you've evolved, how
It does.
concerns
It
have
does.
evolved, how your thinking has evolved, how your personality has evolved. Um,
Absolutely.
it's a really
Absolutely.
it's very reflective.
Revealing, yes, it really is. And so like the subtitle for my book is poetry, prose, and progression. Just to to show that progression over time of me as a person, as an individual, as an artist. And so there are some prose in there as well. So it's mostly poems, but there are some prose in there that I've written along the way and that I decided would be good to, include in the book as well. But that progression part, my husband helped me come up because I'm like, poetry, prose, like I had those two. And he's like, progression. And I'm like, yeah, that's it, because it really is because it spans such a long time that I would hope, that there is some progression that is seen and felt, over time throughout that book, whether, whatever section it might be in, that you'll be able to really pick up on that. So that's my hope for sure.
Awesome. So, what do you think helps an artist or a person to progress, to grow?
Mhm. Practice, practice. And I mean, like, in whatever it is that you do. The more you do something, the better at it you get. The more you study a particular thing, the better at it you become. And so it's a combination to me of the two of practicing your craft. And I just mean, like, if you're a writer, write,
Mhm.
just write, if and also invest in time into your craft, into studying, or yeah, I would say studying, period. Like, whether if it's a textbook or it's a book of poems or whatever, that of something or someone that came before you, that can help you to get to the place that where you're going. Whether it's a book, a how-to type of book, or just something that can give you inspiration, or give you a new understanding about, oh, I never thought about writing a metaphor like that. And
Mhm.
you can just be able to hone in. And so you have to expose yourself to other people, other things, new education, and then also practice. If you're going to be a performance artist, you have to practice performance. If you're going to be a writer, you have to write. So those things to me is the studying and the practice that goes together that really helps a person to progress in whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And just, I think that, as you were saying, go and study people. If you're going to be a performance artist, I think you have to go and watch people. You have to be in that vibe. You have to watch how they
Hmm.
interact with the audience. You have to watch just, I learned a lot about pacing and inflection,
Hmm.
audience connection by watching other poets, slow down and repeat themselves, and when the audience would react, how they would react back, and that balance and that energy flow.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna know, I'm gonna wait for those interactions to come, and
Hmm.
just to, so I don't think that you know what to do until you see people do it, and then you're like, I like how that worked. I like how,
Right.
and everybody puts their own style on it, but learning is all about watching,
Hmm.
listening, and then taking from it what you take from it, because
That's right.
everybody has their own style.
Hmm.
People say I'm more of a storyteller than a, maybe a performance artist in a sense.
Okay.
So they say when I do my poetry, it's like I really understood you. It's like you took me on this journey. It was a story,
Yeah.
like you were tucking me into bed, telling me this story. And so different other people have very dramatic performances, and
Right.
it's really cool. I think I just love the variety of art that's out there.
Right.
So I know that I told you that it is National Poetry Month, and I said, hey,
Hmm.
if you want to share a piece, I definitely would want to welcome you to do that. So do you have a piece for
Sure.
us today?
Yes, I do. I have one that I pulled out for today. I was just feeling this vibe, and like I said, I've never shared this before. This is definitely a poem that's going to be in the book, um, and it's called "Love Is a Verb." So I'm going to be reading this one.
Okay.
All right, all right. Love is a verb. When someone truly cares, you don't have to tell them how to treat you. They know. They get it. They pay attention and treat you accordingly. Only a few things they want more than to see you happy, to know that you're safe, and to provide a safe place for you to be, to live, to fall should you stumble. They are there to pick you up, to encourage you, to tell you, you got this. You can do this. You can do anything. You're amazing. Even on the days when you know you're a mess, when you're stressed and pressed on every side, when it shows on your face, on your skin, in your eyes, they tell you you're incredible, immeasurable, worth more than gold. They show you how much they know you because they've studied and studied what makes you happy. It's like they went to college for this knowledge of you. They read every book, passed every test, and got top honors for being the best of the best. They won't rest until they know you're resting. Mind and body, when someone truly cares, you don't have to tell them how to treat you. They know, they get it, they pay attention, and they treat you accordingly. And that's that poem.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. That was definitely one of those poems that made you feel good. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, yeah, I want to be loved like that. Ooh, I want to be loved like that.
Absolutely. I think we all should have a look like that.
Awesome. You know what? Since you read that one, I'm going to read the one that I wrote one day ago, actually.
Okay.
And in that poem, part of the directions said that you had to include a spin cycle and also do not bleach me.
Okay.
Do not bleach, because the prompt was a song that was about love, and it was using the metaphor of, the whole wash cycle.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember the name of the song right now, but I'm going to go ahead and read mine. How to love me
Mm.
passionately and completely like your soul could never leave me. Kisses long and combos great, spin cycle all our past mistakes. Pray with me, crystal in hand, meld our auras, Kwijang stance. Breathe in deeply, send your vibe, energy pulsing, feel
Mm.
alive. Feel a drum beat, libating, full moon candles affirmating. Read or walk or cook or play. Life unfolds, we meditate. So bold, so true, so raw, so new. Do not bleach, full black, our hue.
Mm.
How to love me? Be yourself. Chemistry, compatibility, health. How to love me? Grow and grow. Where we end, no one can know. And that's the way love goes and grows.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. You said don't bleach me. Don't bleach us. Black.
Don't bleach us. Yeah, we got full blackness. We gonna resonate in this full
And
blackness.
all this glory. Yes.
The melanin. What do they say? Melanin popping.
That's right.
Melanin popping. So we've been talking about progression. So I wanted to end with talking about my personal development package. I share this on all of my videos because this was one of the things that came out of COVID. I created a personal development package. So this is actually $15. It comes with a workbook. It comes with a journal, stickers, a bookmark, a motivational band, and tabs.
Oh, you better go ahead, girl. I love
Yeah,
it.
thank you. And it is this is the first, this is one that I've done. So this is mine. This is the first page. So every page has a topic. So this is what it looks like blank. So you basically fill it in. And this is mine. So the first topic was abundance. And we have Langston Hughes as
Yeah.
the person who inspires me from the past. So basically it has room for you to put a book, a song, an affirmation, a goal. This is like the vision board spot at the bottom, where I
Yeah.
have like the world with all the different people that I could touch. And then you have a person who's a contemporary that you're inspired by. This is Oprah Winfrey. And a
Yeah.
person who's passed on that you're inspired by. And then you have journal prompts in here. Okay. So
That's
over here,
awesome.
you've got some journal prompts about the topic. And so you just go through and you think about the topic. I actually have another poet here. You got Maya Angelou right there with access, and so you go through and you explore these different topics. You tab your journal and you write in your journals. This is actually my journal, so you can see my tabs, and I've written about the different people I've answered the journal prompts. So it's basically a way for people to kind of get back to their goals,
Yes.
and have basically just some food for thought on different areas. And so, the people that are watching, I am selling that for $15. I actually have a book club that I'm going to be meeting with April 24th. They're in Colorado and I'm in Houston. So
Hey, hey.
they're actually working through it right now. I also have other inspirational things on my website. I actually have some inspirational little keychains. These are very sturdy. So there's like 6 different ones. This one says inspire. So you can actually get them in bulk. And I actually have these little things I call them smiley cards, but they're like business cards, but they have positive sayings. Like this one says, don't stop believing. So you get like a pack of 10 for $5. So they're all different business cards. You can give them out, to people. You can put them around your room or whatever. And, oh, I dropped them. I also have bookmarks. These are little bookmarks. It's a pack of 12. Yeah. So they actually stand up, but they slide on the page and they're magnetized on the inside so they don't come off.
Okay. Yeah.
I have big ones and small ones. These are the square ones at the bottom so they can actually stand up. And I have some bigger ones that actually are rounded at the bottom so they don't stand up. So these are all on my website. So people that are listening or watching, you can buy all these little inspirational materials to inspire yourself, uplift yourself, make yourself feel
Hmm.
good, as this poetry hopefully made you feel good as we are celebrating National Poetry Month.
Yes.
And so I wanted to thank Miss Kimberly Dewop Bolden. So I want you to tell them where they can find you.
Hmm. Okay, well, you can find me. I have a website. It's duwap.com, and that's DUWAUP. And you can connect to all of my social media platforms. Everywhere I'm Duwap. It's DUWAUP. Like literally, you can just at Duwap, and it'll come up for you. Whatever platform you're on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those, you can find me there. Also, Cincinnati Poetry Slam, we have a website for that as well, which is CincinnatiPoetrySlam.com. And then also on Facebook and Instagram is Cincinnati Poetry Slam. So you can find us there. You can get all information about the upcoming events, how to register if you want to be a part of the spoken word. And maybe, Zen, I might have you come and be a judge for me one time or something like that. Hey,
Cool.
that would be awesome. And so, just really anything that you want to find out about doo-wop, it's just DUWAUP or CincinnatiPoetrySlam.com. And then we have our 30/30 Poetry Challenge Facebook group, which is 30/30, the numbers, and Poetry Challenge. And you can find that on Facebook as well. We still have a whole lot of the month left. So you can come on in and join, and you can catch up or just pick up where we are right now, and just be inspired. So I thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a wonderful time.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. And I want to thank everybody out there who's watching Facebook. Share this video.
Yeah.
It's it's gonna say live video ended for a few minutes, and then it should pop back up on my page. So you should be able to share it from that point, so more people can know about National Poetry Month. More people can know about her upcoming book and get involved with the 30/30 poetry. It's
Hmm.
great to express yourself, whether you consider yourself a poet or not. Writing
That's right.
is therapy. Writing
That's
is helpful. And we are all going through an unprecedented time,
hmm
with COVID and with everything that's
and
happened this
everything.
past
Yeah.
year. We just lost
Everything.
a wonderful musician, DMX.
Yes.
So people are feeling all kinds of things with all
Hmm.
the things that are going on. And so writing is a good way to just reflect and to get all those things out and to
Yeah.
just heal. And
Yes.
so even if you're not a poet, you might be inspired by looking at some of the things that people are posting in that
Hmm.
and reading those things and being able to just jot down your own feelings and thoughts.
That's
So
right.
I want to have you share this out. You can go also back to, I have 26 episodes of Zennurgy that are on all the podcasting platforms. It's Zennurgy. All of the episodes are inspirational, motivational, talking with all kind of people from different walks of life. So we want you to tune into those episodes, find out about all these people doing great things around us,
Hmm.
and uplift them to support them. And so I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And
Thanks,
this is the walk.
everybody.
It's Zennurgy. Have a great night. My name is Zennurgy, and I have a weekly podcast called Zennurgy, which is fuel for the mind, body, and soul. And this is the Zennergize Your Life Goal Setting Package, Volume 1. It comes with the workbook, a journal, stickers, a bookmark, tabs, and a QR code where you can find my podcast. And inside this workbook, you're going to have 16 different principles. The first one, I'm going to show you mine, is abundance. You have a place to put pictures that inspire you of role models, also pictures of goals that you want to create, goals, journal prompts, meditations, affirmations, all kinds of things to help you focus on this principle to better your life. And like I said, there's 16 principles. So this is a $15 package that comes with all of these things I've shown you, $21 with shipping and handling, and you can get it at laughsandlyrics.com. So Zennurgize your life with me. Thank you.